President Cyril Ramaphosa is hosting German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who is on a two-day state visit. Merkel was invited here by President Cyril Ramaphosa after what the presidency described as a successful state visit 2 years ago. Let's take you live now to our reporter Mbali Tetani, who's in Pretoria, keeping a close eye on this particular story for us. Mbali, it's always great getting insights from you. Now, traditionally speaking, many people don't necessarily think of Germany and South Africa having a close partnership. What are we kind of expecting from the interactions of the two heads of states today?
Well, of course, Ayanda, the Union Buildings is a hive of activity this morning. And as you've mentioned there, we do know that President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to host German Chancellor Angela Merkel on her two-day state visit here this morning. And of course, there, as you have mentioned, that we are expecting them to have talks much later on today. But starting the proceedings from today, we are expecting her to be received with a welcoming visit here at the Union Buildings. And as you can see behind me, I mean, the red carpet has been laid out. We have a brass band which is also expected to take center stage here today. But of course, as you've mentioned there, a number of people are asking themselves why Germany. But of course, we do know that as South Africa, they have extremely good ties with Germany. I mean, we have at least around 600 companies that belong to Germany which have invested here in South Africa, and they employ at least around 100,000 South Africans. So when they do meet here today, we are expecting them to have those bilateral talks. We also are expecting them to also talk about that 72 bilateral agreement which the two countries have. And of course, issues around trade and investment will also take center stage here. And of course, we do know that South Africa has quite a sluggish economy and of course a very high unemployment rate of around 29%. So when the two leaders here do meet, we are expecting them much later on as well to also meet with various business leaders and of course German companies which have invested here in South Africa. So it will be quite a very busy day for the two leaders. And Ayanda, as you've mentioned there, we do know that the last time that these two leaders met, it was of course in Berlin in Germany during the G20 Africa Summit. And of course that was when President Cyril Ramaphosa was on his investment campaign drive, also driving more companies in Germany to continue to of course come here and invest, and of course trying to alleviate the problems around inequality, poverty and of course unemployment. So these two countries do have really good ties and good relations. So we are expecting them to unpack a number of issues which of course also affect South Africa. But of course we are expecting this program, Ayanda, to of course kick off much later on. It will start at around 9 o'clock this morning where we will see these two leaders coming down those Union Building stairs, and of course we will also see them coming down this red carpet which has been laid out here at the Union Buildings, and we'll also then witness the proceedings much later on today. But it is a jam-packed program. They will also head much later on to the BMW plant here at Roslyn in Pretoria.
Now, Mbali, very quickly, some people might be asking the question about what the point of all these state visits are. Like, you know, it almost appears, at least insofar as some people see it, that maybe Cyril Ramaphosa and Angela Merkel have nothing better to do. But there's obviously an objective to this, right? Remind us what that is.
Of course, these two nations will continue to try and foster and strengthen the two ties. I mean, we do know that this visit, Ayanda, comes at a time where South Africa, in just a few days' time, will take up the chairship of the African Union. And of course, as well as Germany will also take up the presidency of the Council of the European Union. So we also know that these two are non-permanent members of the Security Council of the United Nations. So this is something that they will try and continue to talk about in terms of world peace and in terms about security as a whole. So, I mean, when these two countries meet, it is to the beneficial as well of South Africa. And we do know that, I mean, Germany and South Africa is the biggest trade partner on the continent when it comes to, of course, the issues around trade and investment. So, I mean, when these two nations meet, in terms of trying to foster and strengthen those relations solutions and trying to alleviate the problems around unemployment. Of course, this is something that these two leaders will definitely try to iron out.